So this week's movie is called The Happytime Murders. It's full of puppet sex, puppet violence, and puppet vulgarity. If you like puppets and you like raunch, this is your kind of movie. Basically, The Happytime Murders is a raunchy comedy starring Melissa McCarthy and a bunch of sort of like Muppet knockoffs. They actually are made by the Henson Corporation. This movie is directed, by the way, by Brian Henson, Jim's son, who directed all those other Muppet movies, Muppets Christmas Carol, Muppet Treasure Island, and whatever those things are. So this does have kind of Muppet heritage to it, but they're not called Muppets because they're not part of recognizable characters. They're new characters, but they're those kinds of puppets, sort of felty, plush animals. So, or I guess they're animals. Okay, anyway, now where are we going? Okay, so it's a raunchy comedy, and the thing is, my thumbnail sketch of this is, it goes heavy on the raunch, but it runs out of steam when it comes to the comedy, and that's my basic gripe about the movie. Now, I get it. There's something inherently funny about thinking about puppets, which you identify with, soft, cuddly kinds of things that kids love to play with, stuffed animals type. And so to put them in a context of kind of a real sleazy film noir arena is, it's kind of shocking. It's also kind of funny. And I got to tell you, the first time you see this kind of desperate puppet offer, say, hey, for 50 cents, I'll give you, and proposes a particular sex act to Melissa McCarthy. You're really sort of caught off guard. Melissa McCarthy plays off these sort of nasty puppets really quite well. She's as willing to get as gross. She plays a cop, a character as gross as the puppets are, and she's really in it for the fun and games, I think, of working with these deadly puppets. This movie I think it did have possibilities for being something more than just a sex comedy. At one point, the movie early on establishes that puppets live side by side with real human beings, but they're treated like second-class citizens. You think, oh, are they going to make some kind of allegorical reference here? But they throw it away. At another point, Melissa McCarthy ends up in a flashback. You find out that she's been injured, been shot, and she has this emergency liver transplant, I think, or something like that, and it turns out it's a puppet liver, and so then she's wondering, oh, is this going to affect my future? Is it going to affect my life as a cop? It raises some kind of interesting social dynamics there, but it doesn't really go anywhere with it. My problem with this movie is that I had some hopes that it would rise to the level of two movies that I think have dealt with, or two shows that have dealt with similar themes. The one that really suffers by comparison to is this great Broadway musical called Avenue Q. In Avenue Q, yes, it's all done with these kind of Muppet-like characters, and they do have they talk about sex and masturbation and these kinds of things, I think, in the show. But they also have other aspects of the characters, so they're well-rounded, so that sex is only a part of their lives. And it's a very moving and funny demonstration of sort of like adult puppets. There's nowhere near that kind of sophistication in Happytime Murders. So in general, it's kind of a letdown for me. It's a disappointment. It's, by no means near the quality of Avenue Q. But if you don't really care that much, if you lower your standards, just kind of lay back and watch a bunch of sex jokes and F-bombs and all that kind of stuff. If that's all you're interested in, or that's all you need, it might be your happy time. It just wasn't mine. All of my movie reviews are brought to you by Red Wind Casino. See them here first on the KIRO Radio Facebook page, and find all of them at mynorthwest.com.